Hey, what's up everybody? It's Awall here from TGN Games, bringing you some more Guild Wars 2 action. This is my solo queue build for my Guardian. I love it. It's a balanced build. I'm tanky. I do an ass load of damage. I have damage mitigation. I remove boons from my enemies. I'm loving this build right now. If you want to check out the theory crafting video behind this build, click the more gameplay button up top. Also, wait for the video menu at the end of this video. You can see more gameplay and that theory crafting video. Let's get into this one though. This is the Battle of Kylo. This is my favorite map in the game. The 3 cap points here: Windmill up north, Mansion down low, Clock Tower in the mid. Clock Tower normally the most contested point early, so that's why I'm going to head there. I always go into the most contested point early on in any game because that's what I like to do. The secondary mechanic in this game, as you see, is Trebuchet. And both the enemy team and my team have picked up the Trebuchet, and the Trebuchets are raining down damage on this point. My objective right now, since I'm going 2v1, is just to keep this thing neutralized for as long as possible. And notice, because there's multiple enemies here in the center, that I am going to use my regular staff attack, because it does AoE damage, using my invulnerability elite move there to keep myself up and running so I can pop my virtues again. And it looks like we've now got our cap on despite the overwhelming numbers. Now that my allies here, it's 2 versus 2, and they didn't get me using my knockback there at the very last moment. Guardians, wait to use your 2 till they're at the arc of their finishing move, then use your 2 to knock them back to stay up and running for as long as possible. Boom! Got my revive on. Thank you, ally. And now I'm still up and running. We're still contesting this thing despite all the trebuchet dropping here. And I wanted to show you my 2 on my scepter, that AoE damage. It does an ass load of criticals, 15 hits total. With that move, each one has a chance to critical. Since I have a 52% critical chance with this build, trying to dunk and dodge those trebuchet shots, since I have a 52% chance to crit, that is very, very effective, especially with that move. And notice how I'm just kind of staying on the point here to defend it, and then just kind of moving off the edge as soon as any trebuchet shots come in. That person on the trebuchet is more or less wasting their time right now, because if there's no enemies around, I'm not going to be distracted and I'm not going to get hit by those trebuchet shots. So they're just wasting their time, like, oh, I see the trebuchet shot coming in, see ya. One thing that you want to do here when you're in the clock tower, bust out the windows as early as possible so that you can look out the windows, see what's going on with those other points, so if need be, you can jump out of a damn point and go help your allies. I see that that point is highly contested over there, which means that the windmill, the point that the red team currently has, is not going to be highly contested. It means that I can now go in 2 versus 1. The enemy was actually stupid enough to run off. They weren't checking me to see who was jumping out of the window at the clock tower. We're now going to go in 2v2, so we have a good chance to pick this up. I'm seeing that the mansion is now contested, so I need to get my ass on this point as soon as possible, using my line of warding there in front of the point so that the enemy team cannot pursue me and keep me off of the point. Line of warding allows you to move in as well as keeping enemies out, so you can use it to the both effect. Using my 3 on my scepter first, then dropping my 2 on top of them, so that out of the total of 15 hits that my 2 grants me with my scepter, at least 7 or 8 of those are going to crit, which is going to do massive damage. We're looking at about a total of 6,000 damage to 8,000 damage total with this build that I have. It's very crit oriented. Most of my damage is coming from crits on this build, not coming from condition damage. I do some condition damage, but it's mostly critical, so you can't have all of it at the same time. So we've managed to pull this point around, and boom, got our cap on. Look, and luckily for him, he used his block move right at that point, moving in at the ass end of those criticals, taking even more damage. You're seeing how with 20,000 HP, a massive amount of toughness, and all of these buffs, I am tanky as hell, and I can lay down the damage. He was very smart to come back to the point here to try to neutralize it, but unfortunately he was too low on health. Gonna finish him off. We still got our 2 cap on, which means that we're ahead. But now the windmill is getting contested. We need to get him off of the point. Nice use of the knockback there. And in 5 seconds, my knockback will be back if he tries to come back on this thing. If he just wants to stay on the outside of the point, that's A-okay with me. Notice my positioning. I'm keeping my feet inside the point here for as long as possible. And notice that usage of my 5 on my shield to block all of that incoming ranged DPS coming from all of these flame turrets so that I can stay up and running for as long as possible. Who cares if they're attacking you from the outside of the point? It doesn't matter. As long as you're alive and you're on that point, they aren't getting their cap, and we're skyrocketing in points right now. Now the entire enemy team is coming here to contest this point. They've got their big fat warrior here who's going to try to do something against me. I think he's a warrior, not a guardian. Let's see what kind of moves he's using here. Keeping him immobilized in place, he's using tons and tons of blocks. So as long as he doesn't neutralize this point, we're in good shape. Tried to knock him back outside of the point and it didn't work. But notice how I'm able to do enough damage even to this heavy armored character, and I'm able to stay up and running for longer than him. Eventually I'll be able to kill him. Just constantly using my heals, trying to drop my AoE damage there. The immobilized, not very effective against him. He's got a lot of break stuns, which is not allowing my immobilization to work properly. Gonna dunk and dodge out of that AoE, and we're still contesting this. The reason why I'm staying on this point is because I see that we still have our 2 cap on, which is very nice. 1v1, this dude cannot take me down. I'm supposed to be a wussy guardian. I'm just supposed to be a support. Not the case. Get down, sucker. Time to finish you off. Oh, a little knockback there. Gonna embarrass me like that on my own video? Yeah, time to finish you off. Boom, sucker. That's how we do things. Defender bonus. Awall picking up the kill. Very proud of that one. Using my movement speed bonus, I was hoping my allies would run off and go cap some other points, but they didn't. So, now that I don't see too many enemies coming this way, gonna kind of peek around to see what's going on. They decided not to come over to this point because they were so unsuccessful earlier, and I did such a good job of defending this sucker. It's time to use my movement speed buff and head on out. That clock tower is being contested, so it's time for me to get my ass in there and get my cap on. Running over there. Alright, in the meantime, I want to tell you a little bit. I've got perfect inscriptions on this build, which allows all 3 of these signets that I have to have double effectiveness. So I have plus 120 power with this, minus 20% incoming damage with my Signet of Judgment, and then also with my 6. I forgot the name of that signet, sorry. But that's removing 2 conditions per 10 seconds. In addition to the other condition removal move, I remove 3 conditions every 10 seconds with this build, thanks to the suggestions that you guys gave me on my Tariq build video. I'm doing that now, and I'm loving it. Conditions don't stick. Most of the time, the enemy team can't put more than 3 conditions on you at any given time, so they immediately all 3 go away, which is really, really sexy. Also on my weapons, don't know if I mentioned it earlier in this video, on my weapons I've got my sigils of nullification. So on all 3 of my weapons, I can remove buffs from the enemy team if I crit. Considering I have a 52% chance to crit with this build, I'm removing buffs constantly with my AoEs. I'll use my staff to remove a set, then I'll use my scepter to remove a set, then I'll use my shield cone to remove another set of buffs. All of a sudden, 3 boons are disappearing immediately, plus all those passive benefits it gives me. It's really sexy for holding down points and for those big team fights. Winning this because I was very much point-oriented. I felt really good about my performance in this game, keeping my head up, keeping my eye on the points in this game, and it worked out quite well. If you want to see more gameplay, you want to see the theory crafting video behind this solo queue build for my Guardian, video menu coming right up where you can click and check that out. Be sure to subscribe to TGN Games. Thanks for watching. Welcome to the TGN Games video menu. Click the top left-hand corner to check out the previous video, top right-hand button for the next video. Any of the video thumbnails in the center will get you more epic gameplay, and click the solo queue build button on the purple bar below to check out the theory crafting behind this video series. Channel TGN subscribe in the bottom left, and of course, bottom right to subscribe to TGN Games.